When I was 2 years old, I had a near-death experience when I was out with my mom, my brothers, and my sisters, and I started breathing. I stopped breathing for about 15 seconds. My mom is sitting there jerking me, calling my name, Lee, 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 and everybody else was just staring at us, wondering what was going on. Well, it's obvious that I made it because I'm here today, but unfortunately, my mom isn't. You see, this story is about my trips to her grave. My mom died when I was 3, and growing up, my grandma took us in, and even though we were little and couldn't understand death at the time, she knew once we got older, we would need each other for support. So I had remembered a story from my brother, and he said that my mom had came and visited him in his sleep, both my brothers. So, I always asked questions for years and years and years. Why, Mom? Why aren't you coming to visit me? Eventually, I got tired of it, and I stopped thinking about it. But over time, I became a mean person. Nobody really wanted to be around me. They said I was just mean and I was bitter. And having to grow up fast, I was able to understand more. And I realized that it was because of my mom. So I decided to make a pact to myself, make it a tradition, because this is what I needed to do. And I was going to start visiting her grave every year. So that 9th grade year, I decided to go. And I remember I had finally asked my brother, about that story he had told me when I was younger. He told me that that it was not a dream, that my mom had came to them when he was sleeping and woke him up out of his sleep and told him, my brother, and my sister to come and lay with her for the night. And she said that if anything happens to me and I die, I want you guys to know that I love you. So that was the question I asked her as I sat there at her grave, sad and angry, ripping the grass out from underneath her grave because it was just covered there. I could barely see anything, so I'm ripping it out. And I'm dropping tears. Well, finally we go, and while we're in the car, it starts to rain real bad. And see, every time I visited my mom's grave from that year on out, it always rained. You see, my grandma told me this story about my mom, and one thing that really stuck with me is that in the end, she had to give me up because she was trying to get on the right path. And she died in the process. So I felt like it was my duty to take on the responsibility and finish her footsteps, that I had to be the one. So my 11th and 12th grade year, I started going in on my schoolwork, doing as much as I could, trying to make as good grades as I can. I planned to go to college. I did everything I possibly could that would make my mom proud. In 12th grade, I go back with my girlfriend, and we're looking for the grave, and I can't seem to find it. And I just want to give up and walk away. But she says, no, I'm going to find it. So she comes over to where I'm at, and she found it. She just looked down and it was there. So we go over there, and to my surprise, her grave is bigger than I realized. So I put my hand on the stone as it feels smooth, and I put my finger in between the letters. It's a little bit rough, and it sinks in between. And it says, in loving memory. Yeah, I thought then that I wish I had a memory, something to remember her by. So as it was getting late, we decided we had to go, and we started having this tug of war about, should we take the bus or should we go to the closest exit? Should we go to, where the bus is at? Well, she decides we should go towards the exit, and I agree with her. So I look over to my right as we're walking, and I see my grandma's family's grave. And I go over there, and I take pictures because I think it's really cool. I find out that some of them are still alive. Can't wait to tell my grandma. And as we're walking down the long stretch, I hear the people playing basketball, shooting, and the chains rattling, ching, ching. And then it starts raining. But this rain isn't like any other rain that I've experienced. This rain is a light rain. It's misty and it hits the skin. It's just a cool feeling as the wind flows by. And then the clouds start to come in, just very dark. But the sun, there's a space for the sun, and it's shining down on me. So I take my pictures because I knew nobody would believe me. And once we reached the end of the graveyard where the bus stop was at, there was a rainbow shooting out from across my mom's grave. And that day I felt we made a connection.